thing you are doing right now. Heaven has something specific to say to you today, and it cannot wait. Not because God is urgent in the way that fear is urgent, but because what is being revealed in this season is time-sensitive in the best possible way. The lid is coming off something that has been sealed for too long, or a truth that has lived in the foundation of your most primary relationship is being brought into the light. And the relationship heaven is speaking about right now is not a friend who drifted away. It is not a colleague who betrayed your trust. It is not someone whose loyalty you could easily question without it tearing at the fabric of your identity. It is your brother, the person who shared your childhood, the one who was supposed to stand with you when the world stood against you, the one whose loyalty was supposed to be written in blood and sealed by shared history. Chosen one, heaven is exposing what your brother did when you were down. And the reckoning that is coming is not small. You have felt it for a long time. That quiet awareness that when you needed him most, he was not there. Not just physically absent, but strategically distant. The way he seemed to disappear when your crisis hit. The strange pattern of his support evaporating exactly when you needed it to be solid. The sense that he was not just unavailable, but that his absence was a choice that served him in ways you could not quite name. You dismissed these feelings more times than you can count. You told yourself he had his own life. You told yourself that brothers grow apart, that not every relationship stays close, that if something were truly wrong, it would be more obvious. But chosen one, you did know it. You have always known it. The knowing was not unclear. The knowing was simply too devastating to fully accept. Because acknowledging what he did means confronting something that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. It means accepting that the person who was supposed to be your ally was actually your opponent. That the bond you thought was unbreakable was conditional. That blood does not always mean loyalty. Today that changes. Because God has a different kind of love than the kind that protects people from necessary truth. His love is the kind that exposes what is hidden so that healing can actually begin. And what he is exposing today is not meant to destroy your family. It is meant to deliver you from a dynamic that has been quietly stealing you, not with your weakness, but with your resilience. You have always carried something that was difficult to compete with, a capacity to rise after falling, a strength that showed up in crisis rather than crumbling under it, a favor that followed you even through your lowest seasons. That resilience was visible to him from the beginning, and it created something in him that was deeper than admiration. It created envy. Not the surface kind that people outgrow, but the deep, corrosive kind that grows over years of comparison. Every time you recovered from something that should have destroyed you, it was a reminder that you carried something he did not. Not better circumstances, not more opportunities, but an internal strength that could not be taught or transferred. And rather than celebrating that strength, rather than allowing it to inspire his own growth, he began to resent it. You became the standard he could not meet, the benchmark that made his own struggles feel like failures, the proof that the excuses he made for himself were just excuses. And resentment, chosen one, resentment does not stay passive. It eventually finds a way to act. And when you fell, when life hit you with something that brought you to your knees, he saw an opportunity, not to help, but to ensure you stayed down long enough that the comparison would finally shift in his favor. This is where the betrayal began. Not in hatred for you specifically, but in a hunger for the relief that your failure would bring him. Now, before we continue, I need you to understand something. This ministry, these messages that heaven lays on my spirit to share with you, they take time, prayer, and deep spiritual investment. Every word you are hearing right now came through hours of pressing into God's presence, waiting on Him, allowing the Holy Spirit to speak directly to your exact situation. If this message has touched your soul, if you feel the presence of God moving through these words, and if you want to help keep this sacred work flowing to others who desperately need it, there is a Ko-fi link in the description below. Your support, no matter how small, helps me continue creating these divine messages and reaching more souls who are experiencing sibling betrayal, needing permission to see the truth and step forward. It is completely optional, but if you feel led by the Spirit to sow into this ministry, know that your generosity will be multiplied back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. As Scripture says, give, and it will be given to you. When you give to God's work, you are not just supporting a channel, you are partnering with heaven to bring light into dark places. Now let me tell you specifically what he did. Not in vague spiritual language, not in metaphor, but plainly. Because you deserve to see the pattern clearly, so that you can finally stop wondering whether what you felt was real. The first thing he did was withdraw his presence when you needed it most. When you were going through the hardest season of your life, when everything was falling apart, when you were reaching out for anyone who could help you stay standing, he became unavailable. Not busy in the way that life makes people busy, but strategically distant in a way that sent a message. Your calls went unanswered. Your messages were read but not responded to. Your requests for help were met with vague excuses that did not hold up under even basic examination. And chosen one, this was not accidental. This was calculated. Because he knew that in your vulnerability, in your moment of need, you were not a threat. You were not the stronger brother anymore. You were not the one who always seemed to have it together. You were broken. And instead of that breaking his heart and moving him to help, it relieved him. Because for the first time in your shared history, he did not have to measure himself against your strength. He could finally breathe without the weight of comparison, and so he stayed away. Not because he did not care, but because your suffering served something in him that your success never could. It gave him space. It gave him relief. It gave him the temporary illusion that he was no longer the lesser brother. Type I believe if you recognize this pattern of your brother disappearing when you needed him most. The second thing he did was undermine you to people who could have helped. This is where the betrayal moves from passive absence to active sabotage. Because chosen one, it was not enough for him to withhold his own support. He also worked to ensure that others would withhold theirs. When people in your circle, family members, mutual friends, how you were doing, he did not tell them the truth. He did not say you were struggling and needed support. He framed your crisis in ways that made you seem less deserving of help. He highlighted your mistakes while minimizing the circumstances that led to them. He suggested that what you were going through was self-inflicted, that you had brought it on yourself through poor decisions, lack of discipline, or character flaws that were finally catching up with you. Who? And the people who heard him, people who might have reached out, people who might have offered help, absorbed his version of events and decided you were not worth the investment. They stepped back. They withheld resources. They watched you struggle from a distance and told themselves that you needed to learn this lesson on your own. And all of it, every conversation that poisoned the well, every narrative that framed you as unworthy of support, every subtle suggestion that you deserved what you were going through, came from him. The person who was supposed to defend you when you could not defend yourself. The one who was supposed to ensure that even in your lowest moment, people saw you correctly. Instead, he became the voice that made sure they saw you through the lens that served his need to finally be the one who was doing better. Type justice if you have discovered that your brother spoke against you to people who could have helped. Who? The third thing he did was take opportunities that should have been offered to you. While you were down, while you were fighting just to survive, opportunities came up. Opportunities that, in a different season, would have been directed toward you because of your track record, your skills, your reputation. But because you were not in a position to pursue them, because you were dealing with crisis and could not show up with your full capacity, those opportunities were redirected. And your brother positioned himself to receive them. He did not wait for you to recover and try again. He did not hold space for you and tell people that you would be back. He stepped into the gap that your absence created and made it his. He took the job that your contact had been holding for you. He pursued the partnership that was meant to be yours when you were ready. He accepted the role that people had previously associated with your name. And he did it knowing that you were watching, knowing that every step he took into a space that should have been yours was another layer of betrayal. But chosen one, what made this especially cruel was not just that he took what was meant for you. It was that he justified it. He told himself, and anyone who questioned him, that he was not stealing your opportunities. He was simply being responsible, being available, being ready when you were not. He framed your crisis as your failure to show up, and his advancement as his merit. When the truth was that the only reason he had access to those opportunities in the first place was because of the foundation you had built, the reputation you had established, the doors you had opened that he walked through without acknowledgement. Type 333 if you have watched your brother take what was meant for you while you were fighting to survive. The fourth thing he did was show up after your recovery and act like nothing had happened. This is perhaps the most disorienting part of the entire dynamic. Because chosen one, when you finally started to recover, when you finally began to get back on your feet, when the crisis passed and you started to rebuild, he reappeared. Not with an apology, not with an acknowledgement of what he had done or failed to do, but with the expectation that the relationship would simply resume, as though his absence, his sabotage, his opportunism had never occurred. He called you. He showed up at family events. He acted warm and familiar. And when you were distant, when you could not bring yourself to engage with him the way you used to, he acted confused. He acted hurt. He framed your boundary as your problem, your coldness as your unforgiveness, your inability to pretend everything was fine as your bitterness. And the family, the people who did not see what happened in the details, who only saw the surface story, sided with him. They told you to let it go. They said he is your brother, Paul. They reminded you that family is supposed to forgive. They made you the villain for refusing to absorb what he had done and move on, as though it had not fundamentally changed what you knew about him. And chosen one, the isolation of that moment, the experience of being the only one who saw clearly what had happened, while everyone else pressured you to act like it did not matter. That is one of the deepest wounds this dynamic created, because it forced you to choose between your truth and your family's peace. And most of the time, you chose their peace. You swallowed your truth, you played the role, you let him back in, and every time you did, a part of you died. Not dramatically, but quietly. The part of you that believed blood meant loyalty. The part of you that thought brothers were supposed to protect each other. The part of you that trusted that family would show up when it mattered most. Chosen one, I want to pause here and speak to something that has been one of the most painful parts of this entire dynamic. Not the betrayal itself, as devastating as that has been. Not the opportunism, as costly as that has proven. But something quieter, and in many ways more damaging than either of those things. The shame. Because chosen one, when your brother betrays you, when the person who was supposed to stand with you stands against you, it does something to your sense of self that is difficult to repair. You start to wonder what is wrong with you. If your own brother could not be loyal, if the person who knew you longest could not support you in your lowest moment, then maybe you are not worth supporting. Maybe there is something fundamentally unlovable about you. Maybe the people who walk away are seeing something true that you cannot see about yourself. And that shame, beloved, that shame has cost you more than you have allowed yourself to grieve. It has made you question your value in every relationship. It has taught you to expect betrayal, even from people who have given you no reason to doubt them. It has wired your nervous system to brace for abandonment in moments of vulnerability. Because if your brother could lead what happened with your brother was not about your worth. It was about his weakness, his inability to celebrate your strength, his need to see you fail so he could feel like he was finally winning. That was his character, not your value. And you do not have to carry the shame of his choices anymore. Now, chosen one, let me speak to you about what is happening to him in this moment. Because the reckoning is not a future event. It is already in motion. Heaven does not announce justice and then wait. When God decides to address what was done in secret, the process begins immediately. And it works from the inside of the person outward. He is losing the peace he thought your suffering would buy him. Because chosen one, whatever relief he felt when you were down, whatever space he gained by your absence, whatever advantage he took while you were struggling, none of it brought him what he thought it would. The opportunities he took have not fulfilled him. The position he stepped into has not satisfied him. The approval he thought he would finally receive has not come. Because what he took was built on a foundation that was not his. And structures built on stolen foundations do not stand. But he is beginning to feel the weight of what he did, not because he has suddenly developed a conscience, though heaven is working on that too, but because the favor that followed you, the resilience that brought you back, the strength that he resented, is now becoming visible again. And people are starting to notice. They are starting to ask questions. Why did he step into your role so quickly? Why was he so unavailable? when you needed help, but so present when opportunities arose? Why does his version of events not match what they are now observing about your character and your recovery? And the narrative he built, the version of the story that made him look responsible and you look reckless, is beginning to crack. Because truth has a way of surfacing. And you, chosen one, you rising again, you recovering, you rebuilding with integrity, that is the truth that no narrative can suppress forever. Type I trust God if you believe that what God has set in motion on your behalf cannot be stopped by anyone. Now, chosen one, let me speak to you about what this season requires of you. Because the reckoning that heaven is delivering is not an invitation for you to engage in revenge. It is not permission to confront him publicly and expose what he did. It is not a mandate to make him pay in the ways he made you suffer. The reckoning is heaven's assignment, not yours. And your assignment in this season is something that requires more strength than revenge. It requires you to forgive. Forgiving does not mean pretending it did not happen. It does not mean restoring the relationship to what it was before. It does not mean giving him access to your life as though trust was never broken. Forgiving means releasing your right to punish him for what he did. It means entrusting the accounting